The shelter worker actually put her hand on my arm and told me not to adopt him. She said it kindly, but she said it plainly. This one has been returned 3 times. He blocks doorways. He won't let people go where they want, and most people can't live with that. She was trying to save me the trouble, and I could tell she felt bad saying it. She just did not want to watch him come back a 4th time. And I stood there looking at 155 pounds of blue Cane Corso lying in the back of that kennel with his head on his paws, not even lifting his head to look at me, and I said I wanted to meet him anyway. What happened next is the reason I'm alive to tell you any of this, because when I got up to leave that visiting room, that dog stood up, walked across the floor, and put his body in front of the door. He would not let me leave. And 14 months later, on an ordinary Thursday morning in Louisville, Kentucky, he did exactly the same thing again, and it saved my life. His name was Cash, and he was 5 years old, 155 pounds, a blue Cane Corso with gray brindle coat, and the calm, heavy, watchful presence the breed is known for. His paperwork was a short, sad list. Adopted at 2, returned after 5 months. Adopted again at 3, returned after 7 weeks. Adopted a 3rd time and returned within a month. And the reason every single family gave was some version of the same complaint. He blocks. Cash would plant himself in doorways. He would stand in front of the stairs. If you tried to walk out of a room, Cash would get there first and stand there, 155 pounds of dog, looking up at you, and he would not move until he decided you could go. One family wrote on the return form that they could not get out of their own bedroom in the morning without negotiating with him. I still see you haven't subscribed. 3 families sent this dog back for the exact thing that was going to save my life. And in a minute, you'll see what he did. Tap subscribe first. Nobody had ever accused Cash of aggression. In 3 homes and however many months in that shelter, he had never so much as growled at a person. He just would not let people go where he did not want them going. And after a few weeks of that, family after family decided it was more than they wanted to manage. I was 36, and I lived by myself in a small house. And if I'm honest, I went to that shelter because the quiet in my house had started to get to me. I had moved for work 2 years earlier, and I had not really built a life yet. So I was not looking for a guard dog or a project. I wanted something warm in the house. What I got was a dog who had been sent back 3 times, who came with a warning label, and who decided in the space of about 40 minutes that I was his. I signed the papers that afternoon. The shelter worker hugged me in the parking lot and told me to call her if it did not work out, and I could hear in her voice that she expected me to. The first months were exactly what the shelter worker had warned me about. Cash blocked doorways. If I got up to go to the kitchen, Cash was in the kitchen doorway before I got there. If I went to take a shower, he lay down across the bathroom door, and I would come out to find 155 pounds of dog asleep across the threshold. Cash was never aggressive about it, not for 1 second. He would simply be there, enormous and immovable, and I would have to say his name and wait, and then he would get up and let me through with a look like he was doing me a favor. My sister told me flat out that I should send him back. She said it more than once, and by the 3rd or 4th time she said it, I could hear that she thought I was being stubborn. A friend at work told me it was a dominance thing and that I needed a trainer before it got worse. My mother asked whether a woman living alone should really have a dog that size deciding where she could walk, and I probably would have listened to them, except that living with Cash was, in every other way, the best thing that had happened to me in years. The house was not quiet anymore. Cash slept beside my bed every night, close enough that I could reach down and put my hand on him without sitting up. He put his enormous head in my lap while I watched TV. I stopped eating dinner standing over the sink. I started walking 2 or 3 miles a day because he needed it. And I met half my street because everyone wants to talk to you when you are walking a dog that looks like that. So I let the door thing go. I told myself it was just who he was, the price of admission, and I stopped fighting it. I want to be clear about something. I never once thought that blocking meant anything. I thought it was a habit. I thought it was stubbornness. That is the whole reason this story matters, because if you have ever lived with an animal who does something strange over and over, you probably explained it away exactly the way I did. By that spring, Cash and I had settled into a good life. I had stopped noticing the door thing at all, the same way you stop noticing a clock ticking in a room you live in. It was just a thing he did. And then, in early April, I cut my hand on a broken glass while I was washing dishes. It was not a bad cut. It was maybe an inch long across the base of my thumb, and it bled for a couple of minutes and then stopped. I cleaned it, I put a bandage on it, and I did not think about it again. I want you to hold on to how small that is, because that detail is the entire point of this story. 4 days later, I woke up feeling like I was coming down with something. Achy, a little feverish, foggy in a way I could not shake. I told myself it was a virus, took something for the fever, and got dressed for work because that is what you do. I had meetings. I had already used 2 sick days that year and felt guilty about both of them. And Cash would not let me leave. Cash was in front of the door before I had my keys. Not in the doorway this time, in the door. All 155 pounds of him pressed against it. And when I told him to move, he did not move. I said his name. Nothing. I said it again in the voice that always worked, and Cash did not move an inch. I tried to step around him, and he shifted his whole body to stay in front of me. And he made a sound I had never heard from him in 14 months, a low, insistent whine, over and over, like something was wrong with him. I got frustrated. I actually got angry with him, and I am not proud of that. I stood in my own hallway arguing with a dog while my head pounded and my skin went cold and hot in waves, telling Cash to move, telling him I was going to be late. And finally, I gave up and sat down on the floor to catch my breath. And that's when I realized I couldn't really catch it. My heart was going much too fast. The hallway had a strange gray edge to it. The next part I only half remember, and what I do remember comes in pieces. I know I was on the floor. I know Cash was over me barking, huge room-shaking barks that I could feel in my chest. And I remember thinking in a very faraway way that he had never barked inside the house before. Then I know he was gone from beside me, and the barking was coming from the front of the house, and there was a hammering sound over and over that I found out later was 155 pounds of Cane Corso throwing himself against the front door hard enough that my neighbor across the street came out onto her porch to see what was happening. She looked through my front window. She saw me on the hallway floor with a 155-pound dog going frantic behind the glass. She called 911. The ambulance was there in under 10 minutes. I was in septic shock. The cut on my hand, the small one, the one I had already forgotten about, had gone bad, and the infection had gone into my blood, and by that morning, my body was shutting down. The doctors used the word hours. They told me that with sepsis, every hour without treatment raises the risk of dying substantially, and that people who go to bed thinking they have the flu are exactly the people it kills. I spent 6 days in that hospital. On day 2, a nurse asked me what had happened, and when I got to the part about the dog, she stopped writing and just looked at me. If I had walked out my front door that morning, I would have gotten in my car and driven, and I would have collapsed somewhere alone, in a parking garage or on a highway, with nobody watching. The same 155-pound Cane Corso that 3 families sent back, the same dog a shelter worker warned me about with her hand on my arm, the same blocking, immovable, exhausting animal nobody wanted to live with. He was not stubborn, and he was not dominant. Cash had spent 14 months standing in doorways because that is what he does. And on the one morning it mattered, the habit that made him unadoptable put 155 pounds of dog between me and the worst decision I would ever have made. They returned him for blocking doors. Blocking a door is the whole reason I'm here. I told this story to a local rescue group, and it went further than I ever expected, because it turns out an enormous number of people have a dog with a habit they cannot explain, and every single one of them wondered, after hearing this, whether their dog was telling them something. 14 dogs who had been returned more than once found homes in the 3 weeks after it spread, and 2 of the families wrote to tell me that their new dog had a habit nobody else had wanted to live with. Cash is 6 now. There is gray coming into his face, and Cash is slower getting up off the floor than he used to be. And he still blocks my bathroom door every single morning, like it is his job. He still gets to the kitchen doorway before I do. He still sleeps close enough to touch. I do not argue with Cash anymore. I say his name, I wait, I let him decide. And when he moves, I tell him thank you, and I mean it in a way I could never explain to anyone who has not had a dog stand between them and something they could not see. We look at a dog who blocks the door, who leans too hard, who does the same odd thing over and over, and we decide he is stubborn, difficult, more work than he is worth, and we send him back and we call it a bad fit. We never once stop and ask what he might be standing in front of or what he might be trying to keep us from walking into. Sometimes the dog nobody could live with is the only one paying attention. So tell me, was Cash just a stubborn dog with a bad habit, or did he know something that morning? Drop your answer in the comments, and if a dog of yours ever did something strange that turned out to matter, say his name below.